everybody! Greetings. Well, that was a failure. Let's try that one again. Greetings from Brazil. This is my first video that I've made on my own channel from Brazil. If you don't know, I make videos for eDublin. I've been making videos every week since I arrived in Brazil over there, but I thought it was about time that I update you guys on what I have been doing since I arrived here. I have almost been in Brazil for 3 months now, which absolutely blows my mind. It doesn't make any sense. But let's just jump straight into what I have been up to since I arrived here. So to rewind a little bit, I arrived on the 21st of August, and I will honestly never forget how nervous I was feeling that day. I think I left my house at 4 AM to catch a 6 AM flight. Mumsy Glynn brought me to the airport and I cried like a baby. There's just something about that moment when you're leaving your family and it breaks your heart. It breaks your heart. So my 6 AM flight took me to Amsterdam. Good morning everybody and welcome to the biggest day of my entire life. I cannot believe this day has finally come. It is something that I have been talking about and thinking about for frickin' years, and the day is finally here. Right now. This is it. Once I get on this plane, next up is Brazil. Then I had a connection to Sao Paulo where shit hit the fan. Long story short, my baggage was lost in between Amsterdam and Sao Paulo, and I actually had a really tight connection between Sao Paulo and Rio. I think I had like an hour and a half, but it should have been fine. It should have been fine. But it wasn't because of my baggage. I had to fill out loads of forms to get everything set up, and I ended up missing my flight to Rio. So after leaving the house at 4 AM, I arrived in Rio in my hostel at 3 AM Irish time the next day. So yeah, 23 hours of travel. Not such a great start. The next day, I went straight into my Portuguese lessons. I was studying Portuguese in a school just off Copacabana Beach, which is like the most incredible location you could ever have. But my bags didn't arrive for another 4 days. So I was literally walking around like a homeless person on my first week in the classes. I was like, hello everybody, I'm Jess and I wear the same clothes every day. And if you have been following me on eDublin or on my Instagram, you have probably heard that I was robbed in my 3rd week in Rio. Yeah, just a bit of a bumpy start. But aside from all of that, it was such an incredible month in Rio, and I really felt like I got to know it this time. I've been there before just for a couple of days, but spending a month there, it really changed the way I saw the city and the way I experienced it. And I kind of realized that I like that. I like slow travel. That's the kind of travel that I want to do in the future. I want to go to places and really feel like I'm getting to experience them properly. So although my first month in Rio had many ups and downs, I wouldn't change any of it for the world. That was when I learned how to be alone with my own thoughts and how to take 100% responsibility for my own actions, as well as learning how to take care of myself, because there's nobody else to look after you when you're traveling alone. So where to next? It was time to hop on a flight to the biggest city in South America. And you might be thinking, Jess, how big are we talking here? 12 million people in the city alone. That's how big we're talking, folks. I got to spend 2 weeks in Sao Paulo. The first week was spent kind of preparing for a big eDublin event that was taking place. They had the eDublin XP, where we invited our audience to come and hang out and learn about all the many things that you need to know before coming to Ireland, which was awesome. I was so incredibly nervous to go on the stage in front of that many people, but it was epic in the end, thank God. Then the following weekend, we were working at a student fair and we held a big eDublin meetup. as well. But once those things were over, it was time to properly explore Sao Paulo. I did walking tours, I spent rainy days in museums, I met up with the locals, I made new friends. Huge shout out to everybody in Sao Paulo who took me under their wing and showed me around while I was there. Without you guys, I don't know what I would have done. Next up was Salvador. Now, Salvador was one of these cities that I was really intrigued to visit because I felt like it kind of held the key to a lot of the history and culture in Brazil, and I was not wrong. The area that I was staying in is called Pelourinho, and it's like the historical center of the city. It is one of the most beautiful centers I've ever seen. It's so colorful. There's like live samba music in the streets all the time. There's capoeira. Capoeira is like a martial art here in Brazil. So many museums and churches and beautiful architecture. So my last stop in Salvador was with a beautiful, wonderful lady called Flora, and she took me to a place called Praia do Forte with her family. Now, this is about an hour or two outside of Salvador City, and it's like this beautiful little beachside town. Once you get inside the little town, there's like no road, no cars and stuff like that. And then they also have a turtle conservation center there. I was very excited to go there because I'd heard many fantastic things, but when I got there, it just blew my mind. I had no idea how much love I had in my heart for turtles. They were honestly the cutest things I have ever seen. There was one turtle that was like this size, and we got to feed the sharks. I was basically like a big child for the day. So fast forward a little bit, Friday morning in Salvador, 5 a.m. alarm clock for a 7 a.m. flight to Fortaleza, a 3-hour wait in the airport, before an 8-hour bus journey, and finally a 1-hour dune buggy trip through the desert just to get to the magical wonderland of Jericoacoara. I have to say, after that like roller coaster of a travel day, I had never been more excited to spend 10 days doing absolutely nothing. I basically spent all of my time in Jericoacoara sleeping in hammocks, taking walks down the beach, and of course heading down to the famous sand dune to watch the sunset every single day. I recorded this mini video while I was there, and it's probably my favorite video that I've ever recorded because I just feel like it perfectly sums up my experience watching the sunset in Jericoacoara. It's just words don't do it justice, so I'm just gonna show you. soaking up the hippie vibes in Jericoacoara, it was time to make the long trek back to Fortaleza once again. But this time, I had 24 hours to enjoy in the city. So, whoa. Yes, let's start again. So what did I decide to do? I decided to call in the locals. I put it out on my Instagram telling people that I was in Fortaleza. What should I do? Did anybody want to hang out? And a wonderful group of beautiful Brazilian people got back to me and said that they wanted to show me around. And thank God that they did, because with only one day in the city, I had no idea where to go. So they showed me all the spots that the locals go to enjoy the city. So we got to go to the market, we got to taste pastels, which are like the most delicious thing they have here in Brazil. And we got to catch the sunset, because you guys know, always want to be catching the sunset. Another flight for a super quick pit stop in Salvador, where I got to meet a fellow travel blogger from Australia, Georgia, and her boyfriend Kaiki. They hosted me for the weekend, which was so nice of them. Before it was time to head on a 2-hour ferry to get to Morro de São Paulo, which is an island just off the coast of Salvador. One thing you need to know though, is that I get pretty severe seasickness. So that 2-hour boat ride, honestly, I didn't think I was gonna make it. But when I arrived, I soon realized this place is paradise. The beaches are perfection. The water is warm, people. The water is warm. The sand is golden. There's palm trees everywhere. It's just wonderful. I was actually planning on getting some work done on this island, but my hostel had no Wi-Fi, and because of the island vibes, they just, you know, they didn't really care about Wi-Fi. They didn't want to get it sorted, which actually turned out to be incredible because I just sat on the beach and worked on my tan. Anyway, a quick flight from Salvador to Belo Horizonte and a 2-hour car journey brings me to where I am right now. I am currently in Itaúna, which is 2 hours outside of the huge city of Belo Horizonte, and it is Adawan's home. This is where my boyfriend grew up. I'm spending 10 days here to hang out with Ara's family, to kind of recoup a bit, catch up with some work and all that kind of jazz, and sleep in a bedroom that doesn't have 10 other people staying there as well. So it's quite nice. Sadly, my boyfriend is not here right now. He is still traveling for another month, but we will be returning to Itaúna at Christmas time to spend Christmas with Ara's family. His first time in 5 years and my first time ever away from my family, which I'm not going to talk about because it's going to make me upset. That is the full update. That is what I've been doing for the past 3 months now. Next time I'll make sure I don't leave it this long again in the future, okay? Promise. Thank you guys so much for watching and catching up with me. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you guys have been up to, or what your plans are for Christmas time. Let me know. It feels weird because it's like, it's November, it's coming up to Christmas time, and it's summer. It's freaking warm. It's making no sense in my mind right now. Guys, I'm ranting. I will chat to you again very soon. Thank you again for watching. Beijo. Ciao. Being alone with my own thoughts and having to take 100%, can I not say that word? 100